Section 2 of Dejection, an Ode. 2. A grief without a pang, void, dark and drear, a stifled, drowsy, unimpassioned grief. So with this one I would say that there's a kind of pleasure that comes with this kind of particular grief. It's a kind of melancholy. It's not as depressing, I think, as even though he talks about darkness and it being drear. Stifled, yes, but it still has this element of pleasure in it. There's kind of like that kind of pleasure that you get from sleep, I would say, which finds no natural outlet, no relief in word or sigh or tear. And when it finds no natural outlet, that means I think that it does not stop to gather up some kind of meaning of what he's feeling, except in the poem. And there's a kind of element almost of a divine unexpressibility too, with him, except in the poem. And it gives him no relief in a word or sigh or tear. But that word is not the word in the poem, because he had written the poem. But this might be a little bit before he wrote the poem, as this was happening, since it is in the past tense. But the sigh or a tear about this anonymous, the anonymous ballad which came before in the first section, where it predicted a kind of gloom that he's experiencing now. O lady, in this wan and heartless mood, to other thoughts by yonder throstle wooed. So the lady actually, it's almost as if he's mourning for her already, in a sense where she's not here with him, in the lover's mourning. The heartless mood, I would say, is not a favorite mood of anybody's. And to other thoughts by yonder throstled wood, all this long eve, so balmy and serene. He's saying that in these numbers, how he's kind of waiting, I think, and in the evening, that is peaceful, but he says here I have been gazing on the western sky. Now at nighttime, the western sky in the west is not the sunset sky, it's the darker part of the sky. The western, where the clouds have probably begun to gather, and the gazing is kind of a friendly gaze, I think, but there's a peculiar tint, and its peculiar tint of yellow-green. Well, that would be a lime color for me, a grassy color, you might say, of a summer grass. And still I gaze with lo, and with how blank an eye, this blank an eye, his white eye, and also his feeling on the inside of the yellow-green these colors, not just of what he's seeing, but in his mind. And those thin clouds above, clouds kind of have a sense of being explicit to his mood and effective to it in flakes and bars, which are it's the gorgeous part of the evening, and also the part that it reminds me a little bit of him being closer to death, I think, in one sense, or as if something has died away, that give away their motion to the stars. And there's still a sadness in talking about those stars that glide behind them or between now, and this is still in that time of early night, sparkling, now bedimmed, but always seen. So he's together here in this scene with the stars, and they're sparkling, and he wants his restitution, I think, for his day's thoughts. Yon crescent moon, as fixed as if it grew in its own cloudless, starless lake of blue. So this crescent moon, with the old moon in her lap, is what the ballad says, and it is fixed as if it grew in its own cloudless, like kind of in the nighttime, clear, a starless lake of blue. This is still early nighttime, I believe. Usually in a starless lake of blue, there might be one star, the evening star Venus. I see them all, so excellently fair. I see, not feel, how beautiful they are. And for me, I think he's feeling kind of as if his life is nonsense at this point, or just his feeling that it's that blank in these areas of beauty where, there's an excellent fairness. He still feels the injustice of not connecting with it so much, and because of this, he might feel a sense of doom